Accidents happen. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And on your next once-in-a-lifetime trip, you really don't want to stand there looking at the broken remains of your Hasselblad X2D Mark II without a backup camera in your bag. So today, let's talk about the best backup camera for Hasselblad photographers. On my last workshop in southern Spain, I brought the Hasselblad 907X and CFV 100C alongside my X2D Mark II. And I had the chance to really test it in the real world. But here's the thing, as a backup camera, the 907X didn't convince me. Why? I'll tell you at the end of this video. But let's start from the beginning. Here are 5 reasons why I tested the 907X as a backup to the X2D Mark II. First of all, a big thank you to Hasselblad for providing the camera free of charge and for continuously supporting this channel. Even though I receive my Hasselblad equipment at no cost, my opinions here are completely independent. And I'll share both, the positives and critical experiences I had. It's honestly incredible that a medium format camera fits into a body that's roughly 8 by 9 by 10 centimeters, or about 3.3 by 3.6 by 4 inches. It's about the size of a Canon RF 50mm f1.2 lens without a camera attached. And at 620 grams or 1.36 pounds, it's almost a third lighter. Especially when paired with Hasselblad's compact V or P series prime lenses. The camera takes about the same space in your backpack as a lens itself, which makes it an ideal travel companion. In real-world use, the 907X was noticeably more comfortable for me to carry than the X2D Mark II. During a 4-hour street photography walk through Malaga, I carried the 907X with the XCD28P in my hand or over the shoulder the entire time without feeling fatigued. That's a welcome change compared to the substantially heavier X2D Mark II paired with the 35-100E zoom lens, which usually makes me want to take a break after about an hour. No surprise there, it's almost double the weight. The 907X also sits more comfortably against the body. With a shoulder strap I can decide whether the lens points forward or downward, and there are no hard edges digging into my side. It's simply a more compact and pleasant setup to carry all day. One of the big advantages of staying within the Hasselblad system is that you can use the same accessories for both the 907X and the X2D Mark II. If you also want lens redundancy while traveling, I'd recommend pairing a versatile zoom like the XCD 35-100E on the X2D Mark II with compact wide-angle primes such as the XCD 28P or 38V plus the XCD 90V. That way you're covered for pretty much every situation. For example, you could run a time-lapse on a tripod with the 907X while using the X2D Mark II handheld at dusk thanks to its IBIS system. Both cameras share the same batteries, so you only need one charger. And you can also charge them directly via USB-C, which makes travel even easier. When it comes to storage, both cameras come with ultra-fast 1TB internal SSDs. For backup, you can use CF Express Type B cards in both bodies. Hasselblad recommends SanDisk Extreme Pro CF Express Type B cards with up to 512GB capacity. The flash system is also shared between the two cameras. You can mount Nikon-compatible flashes and use full TTL functionality. In studio settings, the 907X performs just as confidently as it does on location. There is one small difference though, the strap attachment system. The 907X uses traditional metal strap lugs, while the X2D series uses a proprietary clip system. At first, these clips bothered me, but over time I've really grown to appreciate the X2D clip design. You can remove the strap quickly when you don't need it, and there are no Peak Design anchor clips hanging from the body. That said, I would love to see Hasselblad unify both systems so I could seamlessly switch my strap between the two cameras. And lastly, both the X2D Mark II and the 907X use the same remote release cable. The 907X also supports additional accessories like the optical viewfinder and the control grip. I'll take a closer look at those in a future video. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel now. Even though both cameras share a lot of DNA, you immediately notice that the shooting experience feels very different. The X2D feels more premium than most cameras out there, but the overall concept is still familiar. Your hand is on the grip, your eye is in the EVF, and you press the shutter with your index finger. With the 907X, that whole concept changes. When I shoot with it, I gently hold the camera with both hands, almost like I'm lifting a small bird. The shutter button sits at the lower right corner of the body, and I can trigger it with my index finger, my middle finger, or even my thumb. Instead of looking straight ahead at my subject, my gaze drops down to the tilted screen. That posture disconnects me from the outside world and makes me focus more on the rectangular frame of the image itself. The camera is controlled through a small chrome dial surrounding the shutter button, which I use to adjust the aperture. By pressing the small side button, I can switch the dial to control shutter speed instead. When I'm using V or E series lenses, I can even adjust ISO directly on the lens control ring. So all the essential shooting parameters are always within reach. I'll admit it took a moment to adjust after using the X2D. But honestly, it was refreshing to use a camera with a completely different operating concept. All settings are also accessible through the very responsive touchscreen. With just a few swipes and taps, I can adjust white balance, autofocus modes and shooting modes. And even though you won't find any custom buttons on the 907X, that doesn't take away from the experience for me. The camera simply works differently than anything else. And that's what makes it so much fun. The CFV100 C-Back inside the 907X uses the exact same sensor as the original X2D. That means 33 by 44mm backside illuminated CMOS sensor with 100 megapixel, 15 stops of dynamic range and 16-bit color depth. In other words, image quality is absolutely uncompromised. In Spain, I regularly push the camera into extreme situations. Bright sunrise skies directly against dark mountain silhouettes. From a foreground that was underexposed by 3 stops, I was able to recover clean detail in Lightroom without introducing visible noise. That's where the sensor really shines, especially in scenes with a lot to explore, like little mountain villages or vibrant cities across Andalusia. If you want to unlock the full potential of your Hasselblad and create images at the highest level, take a look at the workshops on my website. From one-on-one online tutorings to full photo travel experiences, you'll find something that fits your current needs. This year I'm also hosting 3 Hasselblad Masterclass events in my hometown of Leipzig, where you can test Hasselblad gear and get hands-on experience with the entire lineup. Spots are limited, so make sure to reserve your seat early. When it comes to long exposures, I sometimes miss the base ISO of 50 that the X2D Mark II offers. That extra third of a stop can help extend exposure times even a bit further. What became more noticeable with the 907X though was the lack of in-body image stabilization. My compact Peak Design travel tripod, which is great for portability but not the most stable option, struggled in strong coastal winds. In some cases, those vibrations actually became visible in the 907X files. Under those conditions, a more stable tripod like my trusted Gitzo Traveler Series 2 makes a big difference. Or simply switching back to the X2D Mark II. For street photography, I would also lean towards the X2D Mark II in the future. With the 907X, I occasionally lost focus in dynamic scenes where both my subject and I were moving. To be fair, Those were challenging situations. In more classic portrait scenarios with sufficient light, the 907X delivers excellent autofocus performance with reliable face detection. I honestly don't think I've ever looked at a camera this lovingly before. The shape, the chrome edges, and the tactile feel of the tiny buttons, dials, and hinges on the 907X have this special pull that I just can't resist. I simply want to have it with me. I want to pick it up and take a photo. It doesn't matter if I'm at home, in the office, or out and about. It's a real eye-catcher. And it wasn't just me. During lunch breaks at the workshop, I kept noticing participants gently running their hands along the rounded edges of the camera while it was sitting on the table. Even though all Hasselblad cameras look fantastic, I currently reach for the 907X almost every time I feel like taking a photo. And that brings me to my final conclusion, and to why I said earlier that the 907X isn't a good backup camera. The charm of this camera, combined with its outstanding image quality, has actually turned it into my main camera. I rarely leave the house without it because I simply enjoy it too much. The X2D Mark II, even though it's technically superior on paper in almost every way, has become my specialist backup for particularly demanding situations. So, should you buy the 907X as your first and only camera? Probably not. With its slower autofocus and the lack of IBIS and EVF, there are simply too many limitations. But as a team, the 907X and the X2D series are incredibly strong. They complement each other beautifully. And which one becomes your main camera and which one becomes your backup? You'll probably figure that out pretty quickly for yourself. If you'd like to see more videos about getting the most out of your Hasselblad cameras, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about Hasselblad's products, whether it's the 907X, the X2D series, lenses, accessories, or even shooting techniques, drop them down in the comments below this video. I'm currently collecting your questions for an upcoming Q&A episode, where I go through them in detail and share my honest experience. So, if there's anything you've ever wondering about, now is the perfect time to ask. A big thank you to Hasselblad for providing the camera and for their continued support of this channel. Until next time, have fun shooting.